Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, I don't know, about a month ago now, I got back from Egypt, Italy, Israel, and Jordan with the Speaker of the House. And we talked a lot about China and a number of these countries. We talked about the Belt and Road Initiative. And I have a specific question for you all, but I want to build it up for a second. So, you know, we learned about, obviously, what China's trying to do in Egypt, with the Belt and Road Initiative in Italy. We talked about China and Israel's technology. We talked about how China is winning contracts through procurement. And as I was sitting and listening to all of these things and getting educated, what I recognized is that one of the significant challenges we have in this fight with China is that the American people know none of this. They know none of it. They don't know that China is on its way to taking control of the African continent through whatever, through loans, through dollars, you know, through 5G, whatever which way. They don't know that we're starting to hear from countries that we can't sell them weapons fast enough because either we can't get them approved or we can't get them manufactured. And so, you know, China is an option. They don't know that when the United States pulls back, China comes in. They don't know that. They don't know that Chinese workers are around the world building projects in other countries. They have no idea. And you know how I know they have no idea? Because I had no idea until I started learning about it through this committee and through talking to other people. You don't. So what I want to ask you guys is, as we have this huge debate in this country on whether we should pull back from the world, how do you look at how we're going to get the American people to understand that every time we pull back, China comes in, and what that is going to result in the future? And that's for all of you or any of you.
So, Congressman, let me start out by just thanking you for raising the issue and pointing out the concern, because I think there's a fundamental principle that I've learned over the course of my diplomatic career, which is that when the United States pulls out and isn't someplace, bad things happen. We have learned that history over we've learned that lesson over various times in American history. I hope very much we won't have to learn it again. And I think the burden is on all of us, whether in Congress, in the administration.
I don't mean to interrupt, but it's happening, though. It's happening. One of the issues we heard from the leaders in the Middle East is that Ukraine is very important. They're happy with our position. They're supporting our position. They understand the repercussions, not just in Europe, but other places, if we were to leave that area and let Russia just take Ukraine. But they were deeply concerned that while we were, you know, asking them not to, you know, listen to the Chinese, they were deeply concerned that we're taking our eye off the ball in Africa, or we're taking our eye off the ball in the Middle East because the United States is having problems of walking and chewing gum at the same time.
So I would just say this is why Secretary Blinken is constantly reminding us to keep our focus on the rest of the world. And I think especially in an environment where so many of the challenges to American security and the safety and security of American citizens are coming not only from countries now, but from transnational challenges, whether that is climate change, energy insecurity, pandemics and disease, food insecurity. All of these issues ripple across global markets. I'm glad to hear you were in Egypt, because that's a perfect example of a country that's sort of a petri dish for all of these different forces, but where the government is looking to engage with the United States and is looking for strong partnership.
Yeah, every country we went to, it was clear they would rather do business with us than China. It's not even close, right? It was unequivocal. But the subtext also was that if we can't deliver, they just cannot just do anything. They got to buy weapons from somewhere. They got to get loans from somewhere. And so, you know, we're having this debate through Ukraine about isolationism. You know, we should spend our money here, we shouldn't spend it over there. And how do we get the American people to really understand that in this battle with China, right, that every time we're going to pull back or every time we're going to look a different direction, that it's not just bad things are going to happen. We know that it's going to be China who comes in. How do we get the American people to understand that when we're talking about foreign policy, when that's not on MSNBC every night, it's not on Fox News every night, it's not on social media? How do we get them to understand this?
So, Congressman, I guess the only lesson I would offer from my own diplomatic career is actually here in our pockets, and it's this. It's the sense of connectivity that the technology revolution has brought. And I think about, for instance, my own involvement with India, which goes back to 1992, and what happens when you have hundreds of millions of people who are suddenly connected globally. I'm a technology optimist. I think the United States will continue to lead the creation of value in that technology space. But we also have to recognize that our economy, our prosperity here at home is more tied to the rest of the global system than it has ever been before. And again, my portfolio working on energy transition issues dramatically illustrates this, as the United States is now the largest gas exporter in the world, as the United States will remain a critical center of technological innovation on issues of energy, of energy transition. I don't know.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
So when yields